Spirit of life, we offer our prayers this morning, not knowing if our prayers can change the way things are, but knowing that by praying, we ourselves are changed. For those of us who are starting out, graduating from what we know and moving on into the unknown, we ask blessings on the journey. We ask patience and openness as we delve into the unknown. We ask for mentors and guidance and the ability to listen to the knowledge that comes from deep inside. For those of us who are mid-course, who can see how far we've come but still have so far to go, we ask blessings on the journey. We ask for renewal of energy, hope, and inspiration. We ask patience and perseverance as we continue to tackle life's obstacles. We ask for compassion and wisdom and the ability to speak the truths we have learned and to listen for new truths that come from deep inside. For those of us who are farthest along, who are welcoming more endings than beginnings, we ask blessings on the journey. We ask for peace, health, reconciliations with those we love. We ask grace as we let go of how things were and embrace new circumstances and understandings. We ask for respect and the ability to pass on the wisdom that our years have honored us with, wisdom we have gathered from deep inside. Spirit of life, love, and hope at all stages of life, we offer thanks and ask for blessings on the journey. Amen. Our reading this morning is by Ken Nye, entitled Einstein on Time. Someone told me once that Einstein thought time is a variable. That is to say that time is not a constant. Are you following this? I think Einstein was right. When I was a child, a year was a year. Now a year is a week. When I was a child, a week was a whole bunch of days of limitless possibilities, so numerous that I planned ahead only as far as the afternoon. Now a week is a few meetings interspersed with frenetic activity that I have apparently convinced myself is important. Never mind enjoying the moment. Never mind stopping to smell the roses. Yesterday, a lifetime was forever, immeasurable, like a light year. But today, swirling in a mix of tomorrows and yesterdays, a light year is comprehensible, measurable, finite. But let's not talk cosmic stuff. Let's not throw in big words to impress. If Einstein was right, and I think he was, where is the throttle? How do I slow this thing down? Thank you. Okay, I want to start by practicing something that we are going to come back to later. It's a repeat after me situation. Are you up for it? Okay, repeat after me. All moments have prepared me. All moments have prepared me for this living now. For this living now. I have everything I need. I have everything I need in this moment. In this moment. I am exactly where I need to be. I am exactly where I need to be. Great. Hold on to that. In honor of our 2016 Carnival theme, Back to the 80s, I've been watching some of my favorite movies from that decade. Since the 1980s overlaps perfectly with my childhood, these movies have an even more special place in my heart. Back then, movies were magical to me. They opened up my world, helped shape how I thought about the world, and made my already active imagination explode with ideas. Here are some of my favorites: The Never-Ending Story, E.T., Splash, The Breakfast Club, which I notice is playing across the street, Princess Bride, Stand By Me, 16 Candles, Dirty Dancing, Dead Poets Society, Labyrinth, and Back to the Future. Now, I'm sure characters from some of these movies are going to make an appearance at the Carnival Parade this year, so I'm just doing my best up here to get you ready for Thursday. I also expect to see a lot of scrunchies and jelly shoes and really tall bangs. I hope I'm not disappointed. Now, there are, I'm sure, endless sermons in these cinematic classics, but the one that I was drawn to is the Michael J. Fox film, Back to the Future. I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert because this film was released in 1985, so you've had plenty of time to see it. But you might have forgotten some of the plot, so let me remind you. It's the middle of the 80s, and Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, is a typical skateboard-riding, guitar-playing, parent-resenting teenager. He has a girlfriend, a band, and an unlikely friendship with the town's crazy scientist, Doc Brown. We get a glimpse of Marty's home life, which he's less than satisfied with. His father, George McFly, is an incredibly timid man who is bullied mercilessly by his boss, Biff. His mother seems pretty unhappy, but does reminisce about the day she met Marty's father, when her own father ran him over with their family car. It was the adrenaline of the moment that led to their romance, and a fated kiss that weekend at the Under the Sea dance in the high school gymnasium sealed their fate. Now, the plot really gets going when Doc Brown lets Marty in on a secret. He has invented a time machine. He's modified an old DeLorean car, powered by plutonium, of course, and he demonstrates the navigation system with the example date of November 5th, 1955, the day he first conceived of the idea for the machine. What he fails to tell Marty is that the plutonium is stolen, and moments later the Libyan terrorists he stole it from come to reclaim their property. In an action-packed and suspenseful scene, Marty is forced to take cover in the DeLorean and accidentally transports himself back in time 30 years. So now Marty finds himself in 1955, and who should he meet there but George McFly, who he recognizes as a much younger version of his own father. He is, of course, being bullied by his classmate, Biff, who also looks familiar. Marty follows his father, and when he sees an oncoming car about to hit him, Marty dives into the traffic to save him, getting knocked unconscious in the process. He awakens to find himself tended by a pretty young woman named Lorraine, who is instantly smitten with him, and who, to his horror, Marty soon realizes is his mother. But now, instead of being in love with his father, Lorraine is in love with him. Marty's Marty's only hope of returning back to the future is to track down his friend Doc's younger self to help him get back to 1985. With no plutonium available, Doc explains that the only power source capable of generating the necessary amount of electricity to power the time machine is a bolt of lightning. But who can predict when a bolt of lightning will strike? Marty can. He knows from a newspaper article in the future that lightning was going to strike the town's clock the upcoming Saturday night, because the clock hasn't worked since. So Marty and Doc hatch a plan to harness the power of the lightning a few nights later to get him back to the future. But there's a problem. Marty shows Doc a picture of his family in 1985. Himself, his brother, and his sister. Only the kids are fading quickly out of the photograph. You see, he's changed the course of history by saving his father from that moving car. His parents aren't falling in love. And if they don't kiss at that high school dance, Marty and his brother and sister will cease to exist. Now, of course, it's a movie, so Marty is in the end able to get his parents to fall in love. His photo begins to show his complete family again. And he even manages to give his young father a pep talk that gets him to stand up to the bully Biff, which seems to have long-reaching effects. When he returns to the present day, his father is a much more confident, successful man, and his mother is a happier woman. Biff the bully is now working for George. All's well that ends well. But of course, at the end of the movie, we're left with a cliffhanger, making way for Back to the Future Parts 2 and 3. It was fun to see the movie again after all these years. It was a way for me to travel back in time a bit. But it got me thinking about what moments in life I would go back to, given the chance. And had I intervened in history, how different would my life be? I wonder what moments you have those curiosities about. The movie Back to the Future was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale after Gale was musing one day about whether he would have befriended his father if they had attended school together. But even aside from its plot, the film is a study in what-ifs. We consider it a classic now, but many film studios rejected the script. What if Zemeckis and Gale had given up? Luckily, they didn't. After Zemeckis' success with the film Romancing the Stone, another personal favorite, he finally had the courage to approach Steven Spielberg, who agreed to produce his project. Their first choice for the role of Marty McFly was Michael J. Fox, but he was busy filming his television series, Family Ties, so a different guy named Eric Stoltz was cast in the role. Once they started shooting, though, the filmmakers had doubts if he was the right fit. What if they had ignored those doubts? But they didn't. They approached Michael J. Fox again, and now more than a year later, he had more flexibility in his schedule, and he said yes to the role. Back to the Future was released on July 3rd, 1985, grossing almost $400 million. The blockbuster movie led to a franchise with 2 sequels, an animated series, a theme park ride, several video games, and a musical. Plus, every kid my age fell in love with Michael J. Fox and began to wonder about time travel. Every once in a while, I am in awe, thinking that if my mother's best friend, when she was in her 20s, hadn't gone out in her nightgown, to move her car to the other side of the street thanks to the city of Boston's winter plowing schedule. And if she hadn't brought her dog with her, and if she hadn't gotten out of the car to scrape off the windshield while she let it warm up, and if that blessed dog hadn't put his paw right on the door lock, and if that best friend hadn't thought to call my mother for a ride to her landlord's house for a spare apartment key, and if that landlord hadn't been having a party that my father was at, and if that friend hadn't sent my mother in, because she, of course, was in her nightgown, and if that landlord hadn't taken a while to find those keys, giving my dad the time to chat up my mom and ask for her number, well then, I wouldn't be here today. I bet that friend of my mother's was kicking herself that she let her dog lock her out of her car in her nightgown in the middle of winter. But I'm glad she did. And whatever regrets my parents have about a marriage that didn't last, it was all those moments of relationship that led to my sister and led to me. And I, for one, am sure grateful for that. And though I have regrets in my life, moments I dream of returning to for a do-over now and again, I remind myself that time travel is tricky business, as Marty McFly learned on his trip back in time. If we could change just one moment in the past, we would put ourselves and perhaps those around us on a whole new trajectory. And though we fantasize about that, picturing successes we could have had or heartbreak we could have avoided, who knows what other unforeseen events we would have changed as well. All the joys we have had, all the people we have met, all the life lessons we have learned, they too could disappear from the photograph in our hands. I am not of the school that everything happens for a reason, or that we are part of a big cosmic plan. I do believe that we are shaped by our experiences, large and small, that we become who we are in those large and small moments, and that this current moment is the result of the million moments leading up to this one. Although it makes for a great movie, in our own lives, it does us little good to long for the opportunity to go back in time to change things. We would not be who we are today had any of those moments, large or small, not happened just as they did. Regret is only useful if we use it to make different decisions in the current moment, to be braver, to be kinder, to risk love more often. And even traveling into the future is only useful in as much as it pushes us toward our dreams and longings, giving us the hope and determination we need now, in this moment, to create the best life that we can right where we are. All moments have prepared me for this living now. All moments have prepared me for this living now. I have everything I need in this moment. I have everything I need in this moment. I am exactly where I need to be. I am exactly where I need to be. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. Please join me in singing our final